All right, you ready? We are live.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Dirty Sports, episode 668. We are live in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I am your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host via Los Angeles, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andrew.
Good Monday. Oh.
What happened?
I said, good Monday. It's
Oh,
Thursday.
it's Thursday. We didn't do the episode Monday. You were traveling. I was traveling. We put one out, and but that's just the way you are, Andy. Like in your brain, you're like the next one is Monday.
It's funny because so much has happened. Of course, when we do this, NBA championship titles are won.
Yeah.
COVID is running amok in both college and NFL. It's like this always happens.
Well, the good thing is on Monday's episode, I congratulated
Yes.
the world champion Los Angeles Lakers. I congratulated LeBron James. I wrongly said on his 5th NBA Finals MVP, on his 4th NBA Finals MVP. So, that all happened. You were worried I was going to jinx it. And I bet you when they lost game 5, you were like, fucking pray now. But I knew. I said from the beginning, Lakers in 6. I never should have wavered. Lakers in 6. Congrats to the GOAT.
Worried.
Congrats to the GOAT and his latest dumpster fire franchise that he has pulled out of the toilet.
Well, let's not call the Lakers a dumpster fire franchise.
Just saying, the end of the Kobe Bryant era and the post Kobe era has been pretty horrific.
No, it has. It really has. And
LeBron James is just doing his Oprah, and you get a championship, and you get a championship, you get a championship, and you get a championship. I just want to know who is he gonna do next?
Well, sadly, I was driving, so I did not see. That was my longest leg of the 2,300 plus miles.
You didn't get to watch the final game?
No, that was Monday, correct?
Yes.
Or Sunday?
Sunday.
It was Sunday. Yeah, I was currently that night. I was driving to Denver, so I missed that.
It wasn't much of a game. You missed a game for about 4 minutes. After that, it was, slowly celebrating a Lakers championship.
Yeah, I saw they were up by like what? How much at half? Like 30?
Yeah. Early in the third quarter, it had ballooned to like 37 at one point, I think.
Yeah. Well, look, the Heat, to their credit, they put up a fight. I think Jimmy Butler now has solidified himself as we're going to say a top 10 NBA player?
Top 10. Wow, that's aggressive. No, I don't know.
I'm just asking. I'm not saying.
Yeah, no, I think that would be aggressive based on, a strong playoff run, but he's up there. He's hovering, but I would say, rattling off 10 would probably be still kind of easy.
Maybe 15 to 20?
Yeah, I'll say let's call it 15. Let's call it the 10 to 15 range. And look, I'm not saying that it's not possible that this is the beginning of his leap, that he needed a team and he found one that knew how to use Jimmy Butler. But there's still, if you go through the league, there's still, I think, 10 guys that would jump out at you as, especially even in this, even that sort of made their name in the playoffs. Like, is Donovan Mitchell better than Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, you're right. Well, I think when you start looking at these things, you have to say he did it in the finals when it mattered the most against the best player, and he single-handedly got 2 wins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think that really counts for a lot.
Yeah. I just think that there's probably 6, 7, 8 guys that we would go undoubtedly better than Jimmy Butler. And then, you get into these question marks, guys who had, obviously Jimmy Butler had a great playoffs, but he wasn't their leading scorer until the finals, you know? So I think you just gotta, like, props to the Heat. They did fantastically. Jimmy Butler definitely emerged. I think with Miami being the location that it is, with Pat Riley, with a run to the finals, I think that they're going to be able to add pieces, whether it be in free agency, whether it be good drafts. I think the Miami Heat are going to be tough to deal with for a while, especially in the East, where, like, how much better is Boston going to get? How much better are the Bucks going to get? What happens in Philadelphia? Is New Jersey with Kyrie and Kevin Durant really a thing where they have a mutiny against their coach that hasn't arrived to the fucking facility yet?
No, I agree, man. I think those are all valid points. And I think next year could be very interesting because you also have a lot of question marks with coaching changes, and especially in the West. Like take the Clippers. The Clippers don't have a first round pick. They've given up so many picks. Like where do they go?
And the rumors are swirling that it'll be Ty Lue. and I heard somebody say, maybe it's Ty Lue because Ty Lue knows how to stop LeBron James, which at first I laughed. And then I was like, well, actually Ty Lue did do a decent job stopping LeBron James as his coach. So maybe there's something there. He's like, what if we just try to get them to play the way they played under me?
He also got a chip with LeBron.
Yeah. I mean, LeBron James has delivered a lot of people championships that didn't deserve them, didn't participate in winning them. But yeah, for sure the Clippers, they don't have a coach, and they're the second team. I mean, then you look at the teams that did make some noise in the playoffs this year, whether it be Denver, what's going to happen in Portland. I think absolutely there's going to be a lot. The NBA next season, especially, like, where are they going to play? Is it going to be fans? Is it not going to be fans? When does it start? There's a lot of question marks, but right now, LeBron, Anthony Davis, who is reportedly going to re-sign with the Lakers, are currently, once again, Vegas favorites to win it all.
They are.
Yeah. And when you talk about the West, you can't not talk about the return of the Warriors. Steph and Clay coming back. They'll have the number 2 overall pick. I think what's going to have to happen if people want to contend, like say a Warriors team, it's going to be, who do we add that brings us to the Lakers level? Like, I think the Warriors obviously had a nice little run there. LeBron toppled them after one championship. Then they had to bring in Kevin Durant. What is their move going to be to deal with a LeBron Lakers team that also has Anthony Davis? A lot of size, but there's a lot that's going to happen with the Lakers as well. What's going to happen with their roster in this offseason? But I like a lot of things. Obviously, they won the championship. They are built to win for a while if they just can keep these guys in place. And God forbid they add somebody. I mean, I've seen the rumor swirling of Bradley Beal. To get Bradley Beal, goodbye forever.
Well, nothing's guaranteed. We saw the Warriors lose.
Sure.
3-1 lead. So, I mean, nothing's guaranteed. I think for me, again, it's going to be very wide open to a degree. Nobody saw the Miami Heat playing in the finals, and obviously they excelled during the bubble. And when all this legacy stuff is discussed, and it is, I'm kind of just taking a back seat at this point. I think you and I have kind of made our stance pretty clear. We can reiterate it, but at this point, Joe, it's the old Andy Ruther saying, beating a dead bush. I don't think. Do you? Before we go into that, do you think? Because I don't. Do you think there's anybody who is willing to change their opinion when we discuss the greatest player of all time?
Well, you did, so props to you for that. There's got to be some people out there, and I've seen the people who say, if this happens, then whatever. And the weird, shitty, unreasonable, like this, like makes me not take you seriously thing about some people is the like, no matter what happens,
Sure.
I'm not going to say this because of this has already all this and this and this has already happened. And to me, it's like, well, you're out. There's a lot of disqualifying factors when I talk to people or when I see exchanges with people that are talking legacy. Like, if you are unwilling to say nothing can ever happen to make somebody past Jordan, then you're out. If you have Kobe in your top 5, you're out. If you have, like, there are a lot of things where I'm going, like, I just don't. You have already proven to me that your opinion is worthless because you're just talking out your ass. And to me, it's like the Jordan thing is so funny because LeBron now has 4. People were calling Michael Jordan the greatest of all time when he retired after his first three-peat. Like, that's just the bottom line. Like, across the board, almost universally, including myself, universally, everybody was just saying, there goes the greatest basketball player of all time, walking off into the sunset. So the idea that it's this some sort of ring count, that he was retiring with less than Magic, that he was retiring with less than Kareem, that he was retiring with far less than Russell, and he was the GOAT, well, then you've kind of like disproven your own theory that this is some sort of ring count. Yeah. LeBron James has twice as many finals MVPs. He has twice as many, championships as the best player on the team as Kobe Bryant. So take your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meme and get out of here. Because the idea that LeBron James raises his legacy by downshifting into a late part of the career and becoming a second option on a team just to win championships, to me, that doesn't raise his legacy. Like, his legacy is in concrete, stamped forever. He's gone to 10 NBA finals.
Yeah, and I think it's a good point to discuss, changing and evolving your opinions. And obviously I have harped on this for years on the show. I think it's not just the LeBron discussion. I think we need to constantly be ready to modify our beliefs, whether it's sports, politically, whatever. It's kind of like we're witnessing that firsthand, I think, right, with the Tom Brady experiment in Tampa Bay and New England with Cam Newton. It's like, it's still going to be up for debate, I think, right? When you look at these factors and you say, okay, Brady's been amazing, but let's see how they do with a post-injury Cam Newton. We shouldn't just put something in cement and it's memorialized forever as the greatest player of whatever in any sport. And I think people need to realize that. I couldn't agree with you more. When you see people who say that and they toss out these things like, I would never change my opinion. Well, then you're not evolving as a person. You're not maturing as a person. And when you toss out things that aren't facts, like we always love to make fun of, if you ever bring up killer instinct or things that are not tangible, that I can look from a scientific perspective, you're out, in my opinion. You're just done.
Yeah. And to me, it's like, if you're ranking all these guys, you kind of show your hand when you do certain things. Like I said, it's like, look, at this point, it's kind of LeBron, Michael, Kareem, like that. Like, I've even heard some people with the Kareem one, and it's like, okay, it's fine. But the problem is when you say, I don't, he's a bitch and he did this against the weak East. It's like, you have planted your feet in the ground and now he's dominating the West. He was a 1 seed. He ran through the playoffs. Like, take your weak East shit, shove it square up your ass. It's over.
Yeah. And obviously I was driving and I didn't see too much. And the truth is, I've kind of been MIA from social media for the most part for the last 30 days anyway. And I'm trying to just enjoy these games, but there's just so many trash opinions out there. so many just opinions based not in factual evidence, but just in, a viewpoint that doesn't have any science behind it, so to speak. And obviously we think he's the best of all time. Look, I don't freak out though the same way. If somebody wants to think Michael Jordan's the best, cool, good for you. But come at me with arguments. Don't come at me with like killer instinct.
The 80s were tough when he had to beat Kevin Duckworth in the NBA Finals. How would LeBron James ever manage?
Yeah, just don't come at me with that, and we can have a realistic discussion. But yeah, the Lakers.
And honestly, like if you want to come at me with, look, LeBron is the greatest basketball player of all time, but if I had one game to win, I'd still take Jordan. If I had one shot to make, I'd still take Jordan. I could be like, okay, you're probably wrong on that too, and I can show you a lot of statistics why. But at least that opinion can be like boiled down to you going like, I just think there's this will to win and blah 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 and whatever. And again, I still think that's wrong. But to argue with the guy's legacy, to argue with the guy's resume, it's over, guys. He's gonna finish with all the numbers, all of them.
Yeah.
And when you look at other sports, if you had a guy who finishes with all the numbers and gets almost as many championships and more final appearances than the other, like again, if Dan Marino had retired with 5 Super Bowl appearances and 2 wins, people would have been like, that was the greatest quarterback we ever saw.
Yeah. I mean, well, you could look at Drew Brees. I mean, Brees is right up there with touchdown passes, yards, completions. I mean, if Brees had 2 more chips,
if he got 4 rings to Brady's 6,
it's not a question.
It's not a question.
It's not a question. Maybe even 3. I agree. If Brees just gets a couple more chips, then we're really not having this discussion. If he's the leader,
I mean, if Brees is walking out of football with all these numbers and 4 Super Bowl MVPs, who's saying anything?
Nobody. Yeah.
So I agree. It's just kind of ridiculous. And like, we talked about this before. I said, even on this show, we were critical of Peyton Manning. I always said like, okay, he does everything. And he does it all at the line, and he's changed his teams, and everywhere he goes, they get better. When he leaves, they get worse. But he's got 1 Super Bowl, and it's against the Bears. And then he goes to Denver, and he takes them to 2 more Super Bowls. He misses one on a Hail Mary. He wins one. To me, that was where it was settled. It's like, okay, all you do is you take Peyton Manning, you add him to to a team, and now they're contenders. And then they win one like that. To me, that solves it. And it's like, just because he didn't play with Bill Belichick, he's not the GOAT. We got to like remember that this is LeBron James' second competent head coach. Not good head coach. Can we agree LeBron James has had 2 good coaches? He's also had 2 competent coaches.
You're going to say he's had Spoelstra and Frank Vogel as his good
are
coaches.
The 2 guys who deserve to be coaches in the NBA, the 2 guys who are coaches in the NBA. Where's David Blatt? Where's Mike Brown? Where's Lou?
I think, did you just create a reality TV show? Former LeBron's head coaches live in a house. See what happens next.
Yeah. Everybody shows up with ingredients and no one knows how to cook dinner. They're all just staring at a pot. LeBron James has to come and cook them dinner and then leave every episode. It's like Big Brother, but LeBron's allowed to open the door and feed them, then leave again.
LeBron's real world.
Yeah.
From Akron, Ohio.
I mean, that's the thing. You have Kareem on the Lakers. You have Jordan with Phil Jackson. You have all these guys. It's like LeBron's just dragging trash talent, trash coaching staffs, trash franchises. Everywhere he goes is a dumpster fire until he gets there. Then they win it all. And then he goes on. He's Aladdin. They rub his fucking genie lamp. He gives them a bunch of wishes, and then they put him back in the lamp.
If you could have any 3 wishes, what?
Uh,
That's really tough, right?
yeah, I'd have to think about that. It's a tough on the spot.
It is really tough, right? Get back to me on that one. I think we
Yeah.
should. Give me your 3 next episode. Well, Joe, I assume as I look
I'm going to use one on to go back in time and give LeBron James competent coaches his entire career.
Okay, it's not a bad wish. I wouldn't do that myself, but hey,
that would already give me years of my life back spent arguing with casual basketball fans.
yeah, you enjoy it.
I don't know if I would say I enjoy it, but
you have what I would call I'm going to deem it right here now on the show. You have, Joe, you have a masochistic mentality with the Twitter. Like, you don't enjoy it, but you do. It's like the pain. You kind of get off by it. It's like a masochistic mentality.
I think it's just more like of a, it's like a Mother Teresa kind of thing. It's like, is this what I want to be doing with my time? No, but I think it betters the world.
We'll talk about a spin. I say masochistic. You deem it one of like the holiest women in the last 150 years.
I don't think like her idea of a casual Sunday was like feeding hungry children, but she knew it made the world better. She was doing it for, mankind. And I'm just trying to fix lives one stupid Jordan and Kobe stan at a time.
You know what we need? We need a Photoshop, and I'm going to have this made, of your face on Mother Teresa as she's like feeding a poor child in Calcutta, but that poor child's face is going to be like a like a Kobe stan or a Jordan stan wearing their jersey.
That'd be great. You know who we got to get back on now we're talking is out and free into the world, and LeBron has a fourth. Like, where's resident secret Jordan stan Tug Coker?
Is Tug's Jordan fandom, is that really secret?
I mean, it's open, but also he won't really delve into like his criticisms of LeBron James, like why LeBron isn't the GOAT. Like, because I agree that Michael Jordan's legacy speaks for itself. But so does LeBron James.
I don't want to fully speak for Tug. I saw him before I left. We went on a nice little walk together along the Pacific Palisades Park, viewing the ocean. Some of his criticism I actually share as well. They're more of, he whines too much in the court. I agree. LeBron whines way too much. For being someone of his stature, just keep playing, dude. He whines too much.
That's not in his best interests.
Okay, well, he still whines too much.
Okay. That's just a personal preference. That's just a personal preference of, do you like the guy who puts up his hands when he gets fouled, or do you like the guy that goes and sneaks in somebody's ears and is like, motherfucker, I will end you. I am this fucking league. Do you know what happens when people do me wrong? I hunt them down and I fucking kill them. And you fucking don't give me a fucking foul call, I will have you fucking fired. David Stern is in my fucking pocket. Are you fucking listening to me? So it's just how you like your refs to be played. Because there is 1,000 hours of video of Michael standing next to a referee whispering what I assume can be death threats in their ear.
Well, I'm more up the MJ alley there. And then the second one, which I said, which Tug agreed with, I said this has nothing to do with basketball. I said LeBron's press conferences annoy me a lot. He tries to sound. I think LeBron tries too hard to sound smarter than he really is, and that's just a personal thing. But that's not a basketball critique,
right?
And I don't know what else Tug has. I'm sure he has some more, but I like that you're trying to like unearth this what's going on behind the scenes, Tug.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's a lot of like, one day I'll tell you how I really feel about the GOAT conversation. I'm like, what is this one day? Tug's gonna write his, GOAT thesis and slip it into his own pocket when he dies. We're gonna have to like take it out of his blazer right before he goes into the coffin and read his GOAT take.
Well, Joe, I'm looking at your shirt. You're wearing an amazing Miller Lite t-shirt today. I assume when when the Lakers won, you celebrated with a nice, fresh, cold Miller Lite.
I absolutely did. It's the best. I spent the weekend golfing up in Tahoe, and just Miller Lights, like a Lakers championship, golfing at the lake, all like the best things. I have a Miller Lite next to me. I've got our Miller Lite mini fridge right next to me, right here, full of Miller Lights.
Love it. So you were chilling with friends in Tahoe, all kicking back a few Miller Lights, just enjoying the what I assume great fall weather.
Yeah, incredible, beautiful.
Guys, what a great way to connect with Miller Lite. Hit the links, hang out with your buddies, watching football. God knows we have so much football going on right now. It seems like almost every day of the week, both college and NFL, I should say. Miller Lite, great taste with only 96 calories and 3.2 carbs. However you and your friends are enjoying Miller time, you can have the original light beer delivered by going to MillerLite.com/dirty sports and find the delivery options near you. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. So if you're out with your buddies, family, you name it, you want to just have it shipped right to where you live, once again, just go to MillerLite.com/dirty sports. So baseball is towards the end.
Heating up.
We're in the final stretch there, Joe. We got the NLCS and the ALCS. The Rays are up 3-1. The Astros staved off a sweep last night.
I'm the world's biggest Rays fan.
Sure.
I love the Tampa Bay Rays. And not just against the Astros. I mean, I hope that they win it all, because look who's left. For me, it's Braves, Dodgers, Astros. Fuck all of them forever.
And the Rays have never won a title. I always like seeing franchises win a first title, even though if it's Tampa Bay and nobody cares down there.
And it's exciting for them. And I think that they have had a distinct advantage because they've been playing in front of the same size crowds they've always been playing in, and other teams are having to deal with the silence.
That's a great point.
The Rays playing in Tropicana parking lot.
Yeah, I agree. So it looks like they're going to win that series. Obviously, they're up 3-1. It would have to be a Boston Red Sox against the New York Yankees, comeback. What was that, 2003?
2004? Yeah.
Yeah, so it have to be something like that. Now, the Dodgers were down 2-0. They put up a fight in game 2, lose by one run. Come back yesterday, put up an 11 spot in the first inning. It feels like momentum is completely shifting in that series.
Well, look, I mean, it seems very, very obvious to say, but game 4 is absolutely everything. I mean, obviously the difference between being down 3-1 and having it tied at 2-2 is obvious, but Kershaw's start gets pushed back. They have an offensive explosion in game 3. They have Kershaw starting game 4. It's basically the series right there.
Yeah. And Kershaw, who again he started out pitching well, but now he's been suspect lately in the playoffs.
Yeah. So, I think that series is for sure wide open at this point, because when you get 11 runs in the first, we see this in baseball all the time. It's like when a team gets hot, it tends to start with an offensive explosion like this. So, look, the Braves had not lost a playoff game before then. Their starting pitching was impeccable. But last year, they get undone by a disastrous first inning. And I wonder if this doesn't just give them, terrible flashbacks to that and kind of has them come unrattled. I'd almost rather, obviously, I don't want either of the NL teams to end up winning it all. So I'd almost kind of rather that they get go to have a 7-game series and winner gets to take on a rested Rays, which I think the off time hurts less in baseball than it does in football and in basketball and other sports.
Yeah. From my perspective, I think if the Dodgers do lose this series, how can they keep Dave Roberts around?
Well, look, we've been through this with his basketball doppelganger and Doc Rivers. Look how long it took.
It's absolutely amazing. I don't know.
And I think it comes down to, the computers. What do the computers say? I feel like everybody is way too reliant on this, and this goes across the board now. Way too reliant on these analytics. Like they put it into the computer and it says, oh, we've calculated all the other possible replacements, and Dave Roberts is X more wins than replacement manager. And you're taking out of consideration, how does a change affect the morale of the team? Do they like it? Do they not like it? Nothing. I was in Tahoe, so there's casinos, right? And played a little bit of blackjack, not a lot. I was a little bit COVID scared, obviously.
Sure.
But the casino was alone one day or empty one day. So I went and I sat alone for 10 minutes and played blackjack. And whenever you play blackjack, you hear the book. The book says this, the book says this, the book says this. Now, that is factual, legit probability. It's only science. There's no, soul in that. People are now making sports decisions like they're fucking playing blackjack. There is no book in baseball. There is no book in football. If you are defending Mike Zimmer's horrific decision at the end of that Sunday night game by saying the math says, eat a calculator. It was one of the single dumbest decisions I've ever seen. And whatever book says that they should do that, light that book on fire.
Yeah, look, obviously I'm a big guy who likes to follow the facts, the statistics, but there, like you said, I missed that game. I was driving. I think I caught literally the last half of the last drive for the Seahawks. But when I saw what they did, you're just thinking, why are you not kicking a field goal? I mean, it's like you said, and I saw all those things on Twitter. Well, the numbers say, they have this % chance. Look, sometimes you got to ignore the numbers.
The only number that matters is
winning.
Is what percentage field goal chance do you have him making it? So from that distance, what chance is there he makes a field goal? Let's call it 89%. So 89% chance that at worst you go to overtime. Yeah. That's the number. Worst. If you take it past that, you're actually off the book and you're off the math. Yeah. Well, it increases our chances of winning. Don't worry about your chances of winning. Your chances of winning get increased when you remove your chances of losing.
Yeah. And again, obviously, on that particular case, for anybody who forgot, the Seahawks would have had to get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion.
Correct.
Just a tie.
Which, if you watch the end of the game, and I know there's a lot of different factors, but they got a touchdown and they didn't get the 2-point conversion.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about gambling. I have to say, as someone who just drove through Vegas, I got to do a report back to you.
Yeah. What's going on in Vegas these days?
Oh, Joe, it's so depressing. So we drove, my brother Elliot and I, who went on the trip with me, we drove the entire Las Vegas Boulevard, from before Mandalay Bay and just headed north down Las Vegas. Joe, I've never seen it, and I lived there obviously for 2 years. I've been there a ton. I've probably done that drive from LA to Vegas 25 times in my life. Picture 5 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. There's college football games going on. There's Major League Baseball playoffs. The strip's going to be packed. I mean, Prano, we made it across the strip in lightning speed. Now, were there some people out? Sure, but it was a ghost town, man. It's so depressing. They're basically started doing construction or repavement on Las Vegas Boulevard, now closer towards Old Vegas, but still. The point is, when would they ever have a time during the day or, at this time of year to do construction? I think they're basically taking advantage of the situation with COVID.
And I got to say that's surprising to me because I would have thought Vegas would have been a destination for the COVID hoaxers, the deniers, the people who are, want to fight for their freedom by playing craps or whatever. So I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, man. It was it was eye-popping for me to see it, how, again, you're like weekend afternoon, it's a 90-degree day, it's perfect weather out, very depressing. But I have to give an update for all the dirt balls and also you about the end of Savage Town and me leaving. Oh my God.
Can't wait to hear this.
So my building, for some reason, the garbage cans were outside my building. This happens a lot, and I don't understand it. They pick up the trash. The city picks up the trash.
And by the garbage can, you guys, for your huge building, you had dumpsters.
Dumpsters, yes.
Yeah.
So the dumpsters are outside the garage. They had been emptied Saturday morning, but they're locked on the street. So imagine this conundrum. I'm trying to empty out a lot of trash, a lot of crap, but the dumpsters are locked and I can't get in them. So I have to leave. So obviously I start putting all my trash next to the dumpsters on the sidewalk. I don't want to do it, but what are my other options?
Right.
I have none. So I'm emptying the trash with my brother Elliot, and the mayor was helping us with some stuff too. We're putting it all on the sidewalk, and it ended up being a lot more. You know, it always is. It's a lot more than you think you're going to get rid of. And I say to my brother Elliot, within 60 minutes, there will be it's like putting out cheese for a mouse. There will be homeless all in my stuff. Didn't even take 10 minutes. We're still putting out trash. There's a woman rooting through, and she goes, "Is this your stuff?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Can I take some stuff?" And I'm like, "Sure." She's trying on my shoes. I mean, it's a whole thing just there on the sidewalk, right? And she's like, "Oh, this mirror looks great." And she's taking stuff that obviously I dumped out. And then probably about 10 minutes later, we come back out. There's a different homeless dude. She didn't take the mirror. He has the mirror. And he's taking shampoo and conditioner, which I pitched, on the sidewalk, washing his hair, shampooing and conditioning it, looking into my mirror. No water.
Savage.
Yeah, no water, just doing it.
Just dry shampooing.
And look, my brother Elliot and I, he's got a really good heart, but we view things differently. Like he's, just that's his view on life is a little different than me. And here's why I'm going to explain that. He's like, that's really nice that these people can use your leftover stuff and they can clean up a little. That's how he views things, where I'm viewing it like, bro, shampoo has been out for 10 minutes and it's already full of homeless people. Like, I'm viewing it like, no, this is a problem with the city. You're viewing it as like I did some humanitarian act by letting homeless people wear my shoes and use my shampoo. I mean, it was unbelievable how quickly.
I'm not surprised at all. And, it's like, obviously your escape from Venice is brought on by a completely different set of circumstances than mine. But when that's going on, when like homeless people are eating a body, then when 12 homeless people are outside eating a dead body, as you get out of town, you got to be like, okay, this is fine. I'm going to go now.
Yeah. No, 100%. And it wasn't even just that. I mean, I sent you the message. Wednesday night, somebody got shot, gang related, right where I live. There was gunshots Thursday night. And then Sunday night, somebody got shot on Venice Way and Venice Boulevard. So I heard that. In a span of 5 days, like so people know, right where I live, there was 3 shootings. Basically, the gangs, what's happened is, I think the gangs have swarmed into my neighborhood because there was such lack of control and people during the pandemic that now basically the gangs.
And Venice was a big gang
in the 80s
town forever.
Yeah.
And, they're seeing an opportunity to take control of like a high value area again.
Yeah. So I think, and there was a big blood and Crip thing going on in the 80s. And it looks, from some of the tag marks I've seen, it looks like the gangs are back. So have fun with that, Mayor. Enjoy.
Oh, man. Poor Mayor.
don't you love your new spot, Joe?
I
Your
do.
new undisclosed location.
I do. My fortified compound on the outskirts of Los Angeles.
Have you seen a homeless person where you live yet?
Oh, well, so it's funny that you should say that because one day we were walking through the neighborhood and there was like a fire truck, an ambulance, 10 police cars, and we were like, oh, there's been a bomb scare, there's a terrorist, there's a riot, there's 5 white girls talking about equality. Something major is happening because the police are out in mass.
Yeah.
And it turns out that there was one homeless person who had been like kind of milling about the same corner for one day. And so they called out the National Guard.
So can I disclose that you technically are not in the city of Los Angeles anymore? Can I disclose that?
Technically, yeah, in the Southland, but technically not a LA City resident. But as anybody who knows Los Angeles, that there's cities inside the city.
Well, the reason I'm bringing that up, just so people know, is where you're living has its own fire department, its own police department. It's technically its own city. You're in
Correct.
Los Angeles County.
Yeah.
But the good news is you don't have to deal with the city BS. Whereas in Venice, it's city of LA. So you're dealing with LAPD and all of those, policies that they have for people that clearly are a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Well, I need to get used to this suburban life because I got in and I saw all the leaves in the front yard and I'm like, what am I going to do with those? Where are those going?
Did you go to Walt's garage and get a rake and start doing suburban things?
I haven't yet.
Piling leaves, either putting them in bags, lighting them on fire. Is that something that you're allowed to do there?
No.
That's like a common thing, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Burning leaves? No?
Is it?
I think so, but I don't know. I don't know about in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I don't know. The crazy part is you don't think about these things when you lose a parent, like the stupid things. Like I was talking to my neighbor who lives down the street and I was like, I have no clue. Because there is woods, not in our backyard, but the backyard next to it. And I'm sure I can dump it there, but I would still be going through their property. But I was telling that neighbor, I said, we used to drag our leaves down there when I was a kid in grade school and high school when we did all that work. I was like, I don't know what my dad's been doing the last 20. It's a stupid thing that like, I don't know that I'm like, yo, Dad, can you leave me a sign or something?
Yeah, right. You remember that like Michael Keaton, Nicole Kidman movie where he like left videos for his children because he knew he had like cancer or whatever?
No,
like,
I never saw that.
Oh, it's like one of the saddest movies of all time. I forget what it's called. It's literally one of the like most heartbreaking, like tearjerker films of all time. It's like Michael Keaton has cancer, and I believe it's Nicole Kidman's his wife. She's pregnant, and the whole movie's like him like leaving videos for his unborn child. Like, I just imagine you opening like Walt's computer sometime and him being like, Andy, it's your dad. Just want to tell you what to do with these leaves.
I know. I'm like, Dad, come to me in a dream or something. Like, let me know what I'm doing with the leaves. But I
was gonna upload this to the YouTube for you, but I went on and there was a lot of naked people, a lot of people having sex on the YouTube. It's a reference to one of your jokes.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
You're on YouPorn, Dad. You're on YouPorn.
So funny, Prano. At first, I was like, I actually had forgotten. It's been so long since I performed. I forgot that was a reference to an old Walt Ruther joke.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to some football news. I don't want to talk too much college football because, as we said, we don't care.
Fuck 'em.
They're idiots, but it seems to be a problem. This whole thing, COVID thing, and now Nick Saban has it, and I have to. I'm not sitting here to say, and I told you so, because that's not the point. But it's like, guys, what did you think was going to happen? The NFL is running into problems, but they're also paying people because it's a professional league. Like,
right.
This is it's just so embarrassing.
I mean, we've talked about it so much since the beginning and the desperate need for college football, especially in SEC country where it's all they have, where, since 59% of them don't believe COVID's real, where like whatever. Now you got no Florida LSU game. You got Nick Saban out with COVID. It's like, at what point do you say none of this is fair? Like none of this, like any championship that comes out of this, any like let's just take Bama for example. If Bama loses this weekend without Nick Saban, like, is that a real loss?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And you're talking about college football where one loss is your whole season.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's just it's a half-assed product that is crap. Let's just call it for what it is. It's shit. It's a bad product. It's disrupted so many games, and everyone with any common sense saw this happening. Everyone.
Right.
And I know Nick Saban hasn't shown any symptoms, which is good because he's 68. But it's like, dude, this still kills people your age. A lot of people. So my point is we all knew this was going to happen. And, I don't understand why it happened. I guess I do. It was about the money. But I've had zero interest. You've had zero interest. And it's one of those things that it's just a bad season. And that's a great point, which I think a lot of people aren't talking about, which is what you just made, that it's a team. When we talk about the NBA or Major League Baseball, a tainted championship, it doesn't even compare to college football.
Yeah, like in the end, the NBA didn't have any positive COVID tests once they got into the bubble. Every team that was there had an equal shot at the title. And you could argue the teams that were lower seeds, like the Miami Heat, who didn't have to play as many road games, it gave them a boost. Now, in the end, the number one seed won. Like I can't imagine anybody saying that there was not fairness in how the NBA determined a champion. But in college football, you got no Pac-12. You've got, the most dominant team in the last 20 years of college football without their head coach for their biggest game. You've got another in-conference game of the same in the SEC where they're not playing it because of COVID. It just seems like, come on.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's like I said, it's made me. It was a pretty big fan enough of college football to watch. It just made me like, I don't care about this season because this season doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. People keep asking me, what about college football? And I'm like, I'm not going to do it. So quit asking.
Yeah.
To go full Saban. You care about college football? No, I'm not going to do it. So quit asking.
I was going to say, you went full Saban right there. We do have the NFL though. I've enjoyed the NFL and I've enjoyed the.
I mean, to be fair, while we're here criticizing, it's like, look, the NFL, the whole thing's fucked up too.
I couldn't agree more.
Teams getting basically free bye weeks, games being played on Tuesdays. Like the teams that get COVID almost get an advantage over the teams that don't.
Yeah, well, as someone who was traveling on the road for about 4 days, I was struggling. Because obviously I'm not paying attention to my phone. I drove the whole way. By the way, drove 2,300 miles. So
your brother didn't drive at all?
I didn't want him to.
Okay.
Control.
Did he offer?
He offered a couple times, but I'm a boss. I did one leg for the record. I did Denver to St. Louis, Missouri.
Which is how long?
Like 800 plus miles. And I want to reiterate to anybody out there.
Was that 12 hours of driving?
Yeah, it was about 12 hours. Denver to Kansas City is the worst 500 miles ever.
Yeah.
Like the minute you leave Denver, it's Kansas.
It gets bad it gets bad right on the east side of Denver. Like once you get through the Rockies and then through the city of Denver.
It's awful. the state of Kansas on I-70. Oh my God. There's not even hills. At least when you go through like Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, like
little hilly.
Yeah. Just God. I mean, anybody who lives in Kansas. I was thinking about dirtballs who we've kind of sparred with in the past, and I was thinking about people like who live in Topeka or like some of these small towns, and it's like, guys, you're making Ohio look like New York City, like Cincinnati. Like it's real bad. But we do have the NFL, and I'm excited, Joe. And as usual, this week's NFL weekly picks are brought to us by our friends at Game Theory Picks, who provides profitable sports betting advice at an affordable price. Subscriptions include weekly, monthly, which saves you 20%, and yearly, which saves you over 50%. Since the return of sports at the end of July, a $50 per play bettor would have profited over $1,000 in just a little over a couple months by following the advice of our friends at Game Theory Picks. Receive your first month of Game Theory Picks for just $40. What a great deal, dirtballs. All you need to do is go to GameTheoryPicks.com and use promo code NFL2020. So if you want to take advantage of that, I know you do that, Joe. Once again, that's GameTheoryPicks.com, promo code NFL2020.
Love the guys at Game Theory Picks.
Yeah, they've helped you out a lot.
Yeah. And the great thing about Game Theory Picks is that that bonus, that $40 is for all sports. And we had so much happening. We got baseball happening. We have college football happening. Obviously, the NBA just wrapped up. Golf, the Masters is upon us. The French Open just ended in tennis. The COVID postponement of everything. You just get it. You get it all right now.
Yeah. I agree. There's rumors of making it the ultimate sports experience in the basement here.
I love it.
So time to make it happen. So we got some great games this week. I've enjoyed this season. I don't know if you heard this, but they say the scoring is way up. It's not heard. It is, but they're saying it's up because there's no fans and there's nobody to disrupt the audibles or the play calls in the line. So we've had these very exciting games.
I believe that. Yeah.
So no Thursday night game this week
because I honestly can't keep up with who's getting postponed for what. Like, what was the Thursday game supposed to be?
Was it supposed to be because we have 2 Monday night games?
Yeah. Was supposed to be one of those? Or was it supposed to be a game from last week?
Yeah, I don't know, Joe.
Honestly, I can't keep up with it. And it's funny how the domino effect, how like one team's thing affects multiple teams. The Bills have been affected by the Titans, have been affected by the Patriots. It's like
that's probably it because the Bills who played on Tuesday, yeah, that's got to be it because they didn't want them to turn around so quickly because the Bills played last Tuesday.
Right.
So their game this week against the Chiefs has been moved to an early Monday night, which is only fair. They're not going to have a 3-day turnaround.
Yeah.
But we will start with the Sunday games. The Texans are facing the Titans, who one of their players, Derrick Henry, is going to be charged with murder for what he did to Josh Norman during that Tuesday game.
Yeah. Look, I have been burned by the Bills a lot this year. Not that I wasn't a Bills believer. I was, but there's a couple games that they played, specifically the one against the Rams. I thought the Rams would win that game. And so I've been burned by the Bills. And then I was like, well, this is going to be a good game. It really wasn't a good game. I mean, the Titans dominated.
Yeah.
And
Tennessee is now undefeated. They're 4-0. They're looking good. They're actually at home against Houston, and this line is very perplexing. They're just 3-point favorites against the Texans.
Well, I think that the factor there is the boobless factor, the no boob factor. This is probably an 8.5-point spread with the boob, but now they're like, no boob. We'll give them 5 extra points. I agree. It's perplexing, especially being home. I mean, it is a division game, but the way Tennessee looked on Tuesday night, I got to go with the Titans.
And Derrick Henry didn't even have that good of a game, but
yeah,
they played well as a team, and Ryan Tannehill
they really,
well.
I really, more than the Titans' offense. I mean, their defense and what they were able to do to the Bills. Like, I just don't love what the Texans, with a lack of weapons besides Deshaun Watson and a Romeo Crennel head coaching. I don't love seeing the potential of an offensive explosion.
So you are going to agree with me and go with the Titans to cover.
Yeah, but I also think that the 3.5 points is somewhat reasonable because, again, division.
3. It's just 3.
3. Yeah, because division teams.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with the Titans.
All right. The two local teams in my area, the Bengals travel to Indy, where they are 7.5-point dogs. The Bengals took an ass whooping last week to Baltimore. It's a big spread. Philip Rivers has looked very shaky. Some people want him benched for your boy Jacoby Brissett.
I think that would be reckless, but look, the weird thing about the Colts and the people that are what's their record now?
They're 3-2.
3-2. It's like they have looked good at times. It's all about defense. I think their defense is better than it was last year. I know it's crazy, but I almost feel like you just got to tell Rivers turn down, son. Just relax. You got to go Peyton on the Broncos mode.
Can he do that though?
I don't know.
I don't think he can.
It certainly doesn't seem like it. Let me ask you, since you said your two local teams there, is there any sort of I have never even thought about that as an Indianapolis, Cincinnati, those are probably the two closest teams. Is Indy closer to you than the other Ohio team?
Oh, way closer. Indy's only 90 miles from here.
So is there any sort of thing here? Is there
No, it's weird. There's no rivalry.
And there's no you don't see a lot of Colts fans in your area, I imagine.
No.
I think the Colts win this game, but I think the Joey backdoor.
Yeah, I agree.
Backdoor cover.
I like Burrow. Last week a bad pick 6 hurt that game from covering.
Yeah.
I had a buddy tell me he was pissed because he was going to cover. He was driving, and then he threw that bad pick 6, or it was a fumble. Whatever happened, Baltimore ended up whooping the Bengals' ass. So we agree there. All right, moving right along. The Vikings are 4-point favorites against the Falcons, who have fired Quinn and their GM. Minnesota, rough loss. They really blew that game last week against Seattle.
Unbelievably stupid. I got to say, again, I know we talked about it before, and I know it's now Thursday, and the majority of people did this on Monday. The Monday reaction to that game, we obviously had our pre-recorded end of the Smut Studio era, but I have been chomping at the bit to talk about how I just think that is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And I think that this is a perfect example of a major problem that we have in sports these days, where you are not a competent enough coach to think outside of whatever this analytics book, blah, blah, blah says. To me, it was the opposite of ballsy. Oh, well, if you can't get a yard in the NFL, you're when you say that, you're also saying, I don't trust my kicker. You're also saying, I don't trust my defense. Any sort of momentum push that you give your team by saying, I do trust my offensive line and I do trust my running back, you have taken away from defense and special teams. You have said you don't believe your defense can stop the team from going down the field, scoring a touchdown, scoring a 2-point conversion, and beating you in overtime. Yeah. It was so fucking reckless. And I think anybody that defends it is a 100% clown shoes wearing idiot.
Well, I mean, they couldn't. I mean, Russ drove 94 yards down the field.
Didn't get the 2-point conversion. They didn't play in overtime. They were winning the game up to that point. You're basically saying, I'm afraid that this team is significantly better than us.
No, look, I agree. I mean, you kick a field goal there. You really put the pressure on the offense.
I tweeted it the second it happened. I said, Mike Zimmer being a competent coach has left the chat. And the idea that it wasn't universally panned is why it's really difficult to like be involved in sports social media these days. The idea that there are people on the other side, it didn't work. They lost basically immediately.
Yeah. Well, they're at home and they are favorites this week. Once again, they are 4-point favorites against the Falcons, who, dear God, I mean, what has happened to them?
I'm gonna take the Falcons solely on new coach bump.
I agree. I like that. I think the Falcons cover. All right, the Broncos travel to New England. The Patriots are 9.5-point favorites, huge favorites right now. I don't know the quarterback situation. I think it's kind of a mess for Denver.
Well, I was gonna say in New England, it's Cam again, correct?
Sure, correct.
I'll take the Patriots. This is something that I hinted at before, but like the idea that like now you get this like week off, like there's the idea that you could potentially get helped. I mean, look what happened at Tennessee. Like I think Tennessee was helped by basically a free bye week.
Yeah,
and
I agree. This is Bill Belichick.
Exactly. I'm gonna ride that with them.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna take the Patriots as well. All right, the NFC least, the worst division I think I've ever seen. The Washington football team travels to your Giants, where you are 2.5-point favorites.
Yeah, the 2.5 points is basically the new Vegas 3, because there's no home field advantage. This, I believe, when it started, it was 3.5. It's come down. I didn't really love it at 3.5. I don't know how the Giants are favored basically in any game. The Washington defense is pretty good, but the 2.5, somebody's got to win this game, and somebody's got to win this game by a field goal. I'll say it's my Giants that get their first win.
Yeah, I'll go Giants. Who's playing quarterback for the Redskins, or the artist formerly known as the Redskins?
I believe it should be Kyle Allen returning,
but he got hurt.
Yeah, but I believe he's supposed to play. But I guess if not, then it's the ghost of Alex Smith.
What a mess that Dwayne Haskins pick has turned out to be, huh?
Yeah, and I was not really a fan of Dwayne Haskins. I didn't want the Giants to pick him. I don't think he's looked good. I certainly haven't felt like, oh God, I wish the Giants had taken Haskins instead of Jones, who also hasn't looked good. But if you're going to get him and you're going to play him, it just seems crazy to me to give up on him. I know, he hasn't been good.
Yeah.
But you guys haven't been good.
Sure. I agree. Well, the Ravens travel to Philly, where they are 7.5-point favorites at the Link. The Eagles are currently sitting at 1-3-1.
This is an interesting one to me. The spread seems kind of high.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think Vegas has caught on to this thing that the Ravens will play a close game against a good team and they're going to blow out a terrible team, which they did, last week against the Bengals. And that tends to be their thing, right? Like if you look at this Ravens team in the last couple of years, all this regular season success, lack of playoff success, what it basically is
they can't be good teams.
Right. And they can absolutely roll against bad teams. So then the question is, are the Eagles good or are the Eagles bad?
Well, I think the Eagles are bad, but I also think 7.5 at home is a lot. I'm going to go with the Eagles.
I thought 7.5 last week against the Steelers was a lot. The Steelers covered. I think the Ravens are better than the Steelers. I'm going with the Ravens.
Okay. Speaking of the Steelers, look at this AFC North battle that we have, Joe Prano. The 4-1 Cleveland Browns.
I kind of love it.
I love it too. Are headed to Pittsburgh against the undefeated Steelers. Close line here. Just that 3 spot for the home field advantage for the Steelers. Now, I have obviously been critical of Cleveland forever and said the franchise until they win. And they are finally winning. They got rid of Freddie Kitchens. And They got rid of Hugh Jackson before that. And it seems like they might finally be riding this ship. Are they ready for this huge division game, which if they win would put them at least as a tie for first place?
I'm going to take the Browns simply because I think that they can win this game. And to me, again, we talk about the home field advantage. I believe what I've read is that the general rule is that it's 2.5 now instead of 3. So the fact that the Steelers are getting an extra point, they are proper favorites in this game. I like what the Browns are doing. I think at least the Browns. Do I think that the Browns are for real? Maybe not. But I also think that Pittsburgh has yet to beat a good football team. They have done really, really well against bad football teams. I think Cleveland is good. I think that being able to run the ball, it takes a lot of pressure off Baker. But most importantly, their defense is really good.
Yeah.
And
well, look, man,
I'm taking Cleveland.
I'm going to disagree on this one. I think Cleveland has played very well. Until they prove that they can do it, I'm going to bet against them. I'm going to take Pittsburgh. I think it'll be a good game. It'll be a competitive game. I still think Pittsburgh ekes it out and covers that 3 points. Moving right along, Bears, Panthers. Close spread here. 2 surprise teams, I would say. Panthers are sitting at 3-2. The Bears are at 4-1. Bears obviously had a huge win against Tampa Bay last week. This game is in Carolina, and the Panthers are a slight 1.5 point favorite.
I honestly do not know what to make of either of these teams at this point. The Bears are the worst 4-1 I've ever seen.
I couldn't agree more.
The Panthers, good for the Panthers.
Great for the new coach.
I think that Teddy Bridgewater has looked good. That what they've been able to do in losing McCaffrey. Yeah, I think their coach has proven that he's their guy for a long time. I think if you're a Panthers fan, you can't be more excited with how the Panthers are doing.
They lost Luke Kuechly. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. So to be 3-2 and just to be building a foundation for a return of McCaffrey. And I just think that this is a great, to be competitive in this is a Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, I think that the Bears are the worst 4-1 team I've maybe ever seen in history. And I don't know where that leaves me for this game.
I'm going to go with the underdog. I'm going to go, got the battle of a bear and a cat. You got the big panther, you got the bear. The Bear's probably going to win this if they're, the actual animals are fighting. But
you're going with the Coach O pick.
Yeah, I'm going with the Coach O mentality, but I'm going to go with the Panthers.
So the Bears are favored?
No, the Panthers are 1.5 at home favorite.
Okay, so you're not going with the underdog. You're going the underdog in the animal matchup.
Yeah, sorry.
Got it.
Because in the animal matchup, the Bears got to be the favorite, right?
I would think so. Over a Panther. I don't know how big Panthers get, but Bears get pretty fucking big.
But Bears are insane.
Are there any Bears in the Chicago area? It doesn't seem like a part of the country where Bears are hanging out.
No, Bears would be in the mountains, basically, in Appalachian Mountains, or like the Rocky Mountains, or like California.
We are so far gone on having any sense of which one of these teams is good and which one of these teams is bad. We are now basing this solely on their mascots. And based on the fact that the only Bears in Chicago probably exist in now shuttered gay bars.
In Boys Town.
In Boys Town, I'm going to go with the Panthers as well.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I saw a report that they want to change the name of Boys Town.
To what?
It's not inclusive for the others in the LGBTQ community. Can't make this up. It's only inclusive for the gay men by calling it Boys Town.
And what's funny is the Q. I'm not even going to go there. I was going to say the Q used to be saying queer used to be a very offensive term.
No, you're right. It was.
And now I was just about to say call it Queer Town, but that doesn't seem to be inclusive for the LGBT portion of it.
I mean, at this point, you literally Like you don't know what to say. Like I don't know what to say because
I'm 100%. I was like, I don't even know if like the Q for queer is in the thing, and I just feel uncomfortable saying it.
this is the headline from the Chicago Tribune. Chicago's signature LGBTQ neighborhood will no longer be marketed as Boys Town following complaints that the name excludes women and non-binary people.
I just love the marketing thing. Like, is there a marketing team for Boys Town? What does that boardroom look like? I'm not even in the past in the show, I would do a character from that boardroom.
I think you should.
I am not getting canceled.
I think you should. I think you should.
Not getting canceled today.
I think you should.
We need a fabulous new name. Who's got ideas?
I mean, it's unbelievable. Well, with that being said, who are you picking? I'm still going to go with the Panthers.
I said it. I'm going with the Panthers.
Okay, so we're both doing Panthers. All right. Another cat battle game. The Lions against the Jags. This game is in Jacksonville, and the Lions are 3-point favorites.
I shouldn't believe that the Lions should win this game because basically what the Lions do is lose games that they should win.
Sure.
Win games that they should lose. I think Jacksonville getting a nice win to start the season against the Indianapolis Colts was their
Super
moment. Yeah. I just don't think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are any good at all. I think that the Lions are, I guess, on paper, the worst team in the NFC North, but it's pretty strong division. I'm gonna take the Lions.
I got to go with the Lions here. I just have to. Like you said,
three is a lot though, especially on the road.
I just think Jacksonville's terrible.
I agree.
Not as terrible as the New York Jets, though, who are the next team. The Jets, who paid Le'Veon Bell, I believe, $27 or $28 million to basically barely play, never have a 100-yard rushing game. They've released him. They're such a dumpster fire.
He's reportedly signing with the Chiefs.
Is that the news?
The news was originally it was the Chiefs or other teams was the headline. And then the second report was the Chiefs, the Bills, or the Jets. Or sorry, the Chiefs, the Bills, or the Dolphins, the Jets, who are all the Jets' next three opponents.
Yeah.
Basically, he wants to shove it up the ass of the Jets. And if you're him, like why would you go to anywhere but the Chiefs? You become a contender right away. The Bills, I know people love Buffalo and Buffalo's good, but if I'm choosing between those teams, I'm either going for a more of a sure thing Super Bowl opportunity with the Chiefs, or I'm just going to the Dolphins and living out my life and basically retiring.
Yeah, in South Beach.
Yeah.
So it's a 9.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
I mean, this is where we're at. Like if you're a Jets fan, I mean, this has got to be your low point, I think.
Being 9.5-point dogs to the Miami Dolphins with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I mean,
revenge game. Give me the revenge game from Fitzy. I mean, they smoked the Niners last week.
Smoked in San Francisco.
Yeah. The Jets suck.
I am going to go with the Dolphins. I mean, the Jets are really bad.
Enjoy the stacks of money you get betting against the Jets.
How does Adam Gase still have a job right now?
It's a great question.
I mean, this is unbelievable that he still has a job in the NFL right now.
It is, especially you look at Bill O'Brien, you look at Dan Quinn. I mean, I know that their resumes for failure were a bit longer, but they weren't stronger.
Yeah.
I'm going my boy Fitzy in a revenge game. He came to New York. He said, I'm here to bring you guys relevancy. I'm here to bring you on the cusp of a playoff. Bring me back next year. We'll go to the playoffs. They're like, fuck you forever. And he's like, all right, it's going to go be good on a bunch of other teams.
Yeah. Well, man, what a nightmare the Jets really are as an organization. In fact, I don't think it's close. I think right now they're the worst run organization in the NFL.
Yes.
I think by far. This next game is really appealing if you like quarterbacks, if you like legendary quarterbacks.
Legends.
The Packers against the Bucks in Tampa Bay. Green Bay is a 1-point favorite. Ooh, Tampa Bay coming off a rough loss to the Bears. Do they bounce back?
I think Tampa Bay is okay. They're going to be fine. They're a good team. They're not an amazing team. I think the Packers are straight up legit. The idea that just because this game's in Tampa Bay, especially with no crowd, Aaron Rodgers, everything the Packers like, I think the idea that the spread's so low, I would feel reckless not taking the Packers.
Yeah, I want to take the Packers. My heart's telling me everything's saying Packers. For the show's sake and to be a contrarian, I'll go with the Bucks. The Bucks.
Are you taking there is like a gambling strategy of when everything is saying this, it's the other team.
Exactly. Like everything in my head is saying Packers. And I don't think the Bucks have looked that good. I maybe overestimated Tom Brady, and through the first 5 games, it looks like I have. Everything is telling me Packers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers. I'm going to follow everything's telling me.
Yeah, but I'll go Bucks for the hell of it. All right, the Rams travel to San Francisco. San Francisco needs this win. San Francisco sitting at 2-3, while the Rams are at 4-1. The Rams are 3-point favorites on the road.
To me, it's not high enough. I'm going to take the Rams.
I guess Jimmy G is supposed to be back at quarterback. Like the Rams the Niners are basically in a Super Bowl hangover. We agree?
Yeah, a lot of injuries, including obviously to their quarterback. Then they bring him back last week. He's, and then they bench him because he's not ready. He's hurt or he doesn't look good, blah, blah, blah. It's almost like if you're going to do that, how do you bring him back again the next week?
Yeah.
So I just think the Rams, I still don't know what to think of the Rams, but I do think that the Rams are good. And I think if the Rams are going to compete for the division, they absolutely can't lose more games in the division.
Yeah. I think the Rams have to win this game. And I think the Rams defense, remember the Rams defense was suspect last year.
Yeah.
That was a major problem. The defense has bounced. To me, that's been the biggest change for them this year is their defense is playing pretty well. And Aaron Donald's back to just being a stud. Not that he was bad last year, but I mean, he is just being ferocious again. I'm going to take the Rams as well. And I think the Niners fall to 2-4. And I think this is a year they don't make the playoffs. All right. So we alluded to this game earlier. Well, what the hell?
Did you hear that?
Yeah, that'll be on.
I have no idea what that is. I think it's somebody's.
It was me. It was. Sorry.
I thought you were hearing something. There's something also coming out from out my window. I think it's somebody's Halloween decorations that are like spooky talking.
That was some ad for a company that popped in, which I'm not going to recommend because they don't pass. Okay, so the Bills Chiefs.
This is a wild one.
Yeah, Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites. It's in Buffalo.
I'm going to take the Chiefs based solely on, and I know that that Buffalo lost as well, but I'm going to take the Chiefs based solely on the Chiefs bounce back game.
I agree. And in Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, I trust in this one. And if you add Le'Veon Bell, by the way, I mean, look, obviously it's not Le'Veon Bell from a few years ago on the Steelers, but just makes that offense that much more explosive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs as well. All right, the main Monday night game, which was already scheduled, is the Cardinals against the Cowboys. The Cardinals are a 1.5 favorite in Dallas against the Andy Dalton-led Dallas Cowboys. Are we saying there's a Ruther curse at all in this game?
Because
against, I don't know. Because
Andy Dalton?
Yeah, I don't know. Andy Dalton comes in for Dak. Dak can't even make it 5 games. No,
well,
I mean, there was some, some talk on social media. I saw like somehow like I had something to do with this. And
we had some chatter on this show, and I think we both. I almost think our stances were a little bit different, but I recall basically questioning is Andy Dalton better than Dak?
No, I did not say that. What I said was I didn't think there'd be that much of a drop off because Andy Dalton in his career has shown if he's surrounded by just extreme talent, and he is, and you saw it last week, he went 9 of 11 for 100 plus yards and led the game winning drive for a field goal.
And basically what I said is Andy Dalton is better than Dak if you consider value, which obviously Dak didn't take the big contract. He went the franchise route. He got hurt. Where this leaves the Cowboys in a contract negotiation with Dak, I don't know if we'll know. Will this give Jerry Jones an opportunity to get him for less money and he just takes the thing? Or do now they wait and see and how they do with Andy Dalton and potentially, riding that train? But I'm not, obviously I'm on the record of saying I'm not the world's biggest Colin Cowherd fan. I don't enjoy Colin Cowherd, but I did see this come across the Twitter. Dak Prescott, first 4 seasons, 40 and 24, 97 touchdown passes. Andy Dalton's first 4 seasons, 40, 23, and 1, 99 pass TDs. So basically identical records, identical stats. Andy Dalton was on really good teams. Dak was I don't know about on really good teams, but in a really bad division, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think that they drop off that much. So
basically, it's a 1.5 in Dallas against the Cardinals.
My thing is I'm taking the Cardinals, and I'm taking the Cardinals if Dak was there.
Because you think the Cardinals are a better team.
I just think the Cowboys are bad.
Yeah.
Can't stop anybody. The explosiveness of the Cardinals offense I could see this getting out of control and being a big, high-scoring football game. And I like Dak's chances in a shootout more than I like Andy Dalton's chances in a shootout. Do I think Andy Dalton could maybe manage a game? Sure. Do I think he maybe could be a better game manager than Dak? Maybe. But the Cowboys aren't going to play a lot of games where they manage them.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cowboys. Here's how I've changed, guys. We talked about change earlier in the show. I'm rooting for Andy Dalton to play well as the fill-in. I think it makes a great storyline for Dallas. There's always drama already. We don't need it, but it's going to be an added drama, right? Dak gets hurt.
Where do the Cowboys sit on your Andy Dalton's favorite or Andy Ruther's favorite team rankings? Because I feel like you've been riding the Cowboys for a few years now. I feel like you're joined in with Tug or something.
They're not on my.
They're not going to go in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, it was this reckless, awful pick. I mean, I'll own up to that. It's a terrible pick. It was an absolutely terrible pick. I think I have them winning the division this year and maybe making it to the NFC Championship. I don't remember what I said. But no, they're not on my list, man. Okay. They're not on my list. Let's just you want to hear Andy Ruther's list right now of like teams I'm like, oh yeah, I really rooting for them. It's 2 LA teams. I've really enjoyed Justin Herbert, like tough loss. He's had a couple tough losses, man, where he's played really well.
That game was awesome for me. I was in Tahoe. I bet the Chargers money line in the first half and the Saints money line in the second half. So
smart.
Kapow.
Yeah, that was a good move. Obviously, I'm going to root for the Rams. I like Sean McVay. Come on, Russ. Mr. Unlimited. So right now, it's basically, you would say, right, through 5 weeks, it's him and Aaron Rodgers kind of up in the air for MVP. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say that it's right there. Although, again, it's 5 weeks. Like, I think that there's guys hovering. I mean, you got to look at Mahomes. Like, it's not like Mahomes has played bad.
Of course.
Then, like, again, like, doesn't Aaron Donald get MVP votes if they win that division?
Yeah, for sure.
So and then I think a big hit to Josh Allen's, outside already chances in that Tennessee game.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And also, like I said, we're talking about my teams. I'm rooting for Burrow. I like seeing the Bengals lose because I take pleasure on seeing people now that I'm in.
But you like Burrow.
I like him. Yeah. I like everything about him. So.
And then, I got to say, since we were talking about Mahomes, Nice resurgence by Derek Carr, by the way, in that Chiefs Raiders
Oh
game.
my God, dude.
And for Derek Carr this season, I feel like Derek Carr's put himself back in the talk as like I don't know about an elite quarterback, but as a good to great quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
He looked fantastic.
Was shocked to see that game. You know, at that point in my drive, we had stopped in Grand Junction, Colorado, basically, you know, a town on the western side of Colorado. You just get into the state. We stopped at Crazy Dave's Barbecue off of Interstate 70.
Crazy Dave's. So good, it's crazy.
And that game was on the screen. By the way, you know what's interesting for my brother and I driving across the country, seeing how different states handled the COVID pandemic.
Oh, I'm sure. I was actually my buddy who I was, you know, hanging out with up there, Ian, who runs McDuff's Pub. He had just done a cross country trip, and he was just like, from masks to like how restaurants handle it across country. So just going like, he said he was in basically like South Dakota, and they were like, he had a mask on. They're like, "Do you have COVID?"
Yeah.
He's like, "No," and they're like, "Why are you wearing a mask then?"
Okay, so we drove through California, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, Ohio. So 10 states. Guess which state of those 10 I just named, which by far it didn't compare, was the least protective and most lax on the whole COVID situation. Doesn't even compare.
Utah?
Yes.
Well, God's protecting them.
The only state where you didn't have to wear masks, basically every other state was the law. You had to wear a mask in any establishment. Utah, we went to Big Bear Diner in St. George, and wow, interesting cats in there. Now the restaurant workers were wearing them, but like, yeah, it was kind of fascinating to see.
You and I had an America off during that Chiefs Raiders game. You were at Big Crazy Dave's Barbecue, and I was at a gun range in Nevada, an outdoor fucking rifle range in Nevada, shooting all kinds of guns. I mean, you want to talk about America vibes.
Oh, I bet.
Sunday morning in an outdoor Nevada gun range. I mean, there were people there with literal cannons. There was a couple next to us with their two girls, 5 and 7, popping off guns.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I know you spent some time in Kansas City. I wonder if we ate at a great barbecue restaurant not too far off I-70. Slaps.
I have not had Slaps. When I went to Kansas City, I did like there's two dueling like major barbecues. It's like Arthur Bryant's and some other one.
Yeah.
I did those two. And I wish I had.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just the idea of being able to sit there and be like, this barbecue slaps.
Yeah, well, that's what the kids say about the songs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Nicky D always said, like, this song slaps.
That's what the kids say about the songs.
Yeah. I'm old, dude. Look at me now. By the way, I
love you just millennialing your. Is that what the children say about the songs?
Dude, I've aged myself.
I'd like to try some of this wet ass barbecue. Give me a bucket and a mop for this wet ass brisket.
Dude, I'm about to be a 39-year-old single suburban dad. So at this point in Cincinnati, they probably either
suburban dad. You're a dad?
No, like basically that vibe.
That was my prediction, by the way. I said that you are going to be a dad. You're gonna get together with some like divorced mom of two, and suddenly be the dad Andy, step Andy.
That's the prediction?
Yeah, it's my prediction.
Well, it is official. I'm going to be an assistant third grade basketball coach of my nephew.
Hell yeah.
So you have to take like classes that you're not a pedophile. So once I take those classes with my buddy, who's going to be the head coach, I am going to be a third grade basketball assistant coach.
Love it. And you've already been, you're Coach Monkey. Should we let them know about Coach Monkey?
That's right. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, we'll see. I'll be curious if the parents find out about some of the dirty sports stuff and some of my social media, if it's going to bother them.
Yeah, trust me. I've been there a million times.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. You're the assistant third grade basketball coach.
I'm not too
Guys,
concerned.
who did you think you were at? You think you were going to get Doc Rivers out here? My goal is to make sure no one pisses their pants on the court.
Yeah. Learn how to make a bounce pass correctly.
Yeah.
It's going to be real simple. Well, that's the show.
Thumbs down, Andy. Thumbs down.
Yeah. Good to be back, Joe. Good to do this. And just so everybody knows, we're going to keep adjusting. I've ordered some really nice microphones for us. It's on a back order. It's been on a back order for 15 days. It's frustrating, but apparently
I've got a completely empty wall over here. I think this is going to turn into the new smut couch. I've got my what's it? The picture of me as a horse over there. I've got the Walton jersey.
Centaur.
Centaur. Yeah. Might turn that wall into a dirty sports background. So a lot of things to come.
Yeah. And same for me. Obviously, this is the background of my parents' basement, and things will come once we start getting everything. And my stuff is still being shipped across the country. So looking forward to the adjustments that we do and the sets that we both create on our own, and looking forward to continuing the show. So thank you to everyone for all the amazing support, all the kind words that I still keep receiving. So much love to everybody. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Andy Ruther. You can follow the show at The Dirty Sports. Joe Prano, what about you?
Rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast on all places that podcasts are available. I'm on Twitter at Fix Your Life. I'm on Instagram at Joe Prano. I'm on Venmo at Joe Prano. I'm on Cameo if you want to have somebody wish you a happy birthday or tell you to kill yourself. I'm not sure I'm legally allowed to do that, but look, we'll play with it. Anyway, all those things and much more, you know where to find me.
Yeah. Dirtballs, once again, thank you guys for all the support. Have a great weekend. And as always, stay dirty.